Yeah, so this is a restorative class, and restorative yoga is, like I said, if you saw like my quote or whatever, it's about relaxation. I mean, really, all of yoga is about relaxation, and it's really about. And while I'm talking and you're getting there, feel free to just sit in a comfortable position and just move around and shift around because we're gonna pretty much get started in shavasana. So while you're here, do whatever do your little twists or neck bends or just stretching out a little bit because we're going to come to rest pretty quickly. Um, so yeah, all of yoga is really about rest and relaxation, even in the really challenging poses, in the challenging sequences, which I think, of course, is always akin to life, right? So it's about learning how to be in those really intense, whether you're in like holding warrior or some really traumatic thing in your life, and learning how to kind of relax into it, find your breath, find your center. Yeah, just kind of come to this calmness. And so restorative yoga like helps us do that, right? Because a lot of times we're doing all these, we think like yoga and exercise and that's really good for me, and it totally is, but we also need to retrain our body to, rest a little bit more. And so some of the things is that we hold poses longer. There's yin yoga, which, kind of the typical yin yoga is like holding poses for like 5-10 minutes sometimes, and you set yourself up with blankets and pillows. That's why I said, if you have blankets and pillows, get those. And what I meant by a sturdy blanket, like there's kind of like the typical yoga blanket, and it's just kind of like, it's kind of firm, I guess. So, if you have that, that might help for different poses, but you could also do all of this sequence without anything. It just like using those can maybe help you in areas that you feel, whenever we have our feet together and our knees out to the side, laying down, you're going to maybe stuff something under your knees. So that can really help you to just, come to a more comfortable place. So you're not holding any tension, because that's part of the goal is to, as we hold these poses for a minute, 3 minutes, something, we get to really let go, um, and and release the tension a lot easier. Sometimes when you have like you think it's a tight muscle, and sometimes it could be, but sometimes it's the fascia layer, which is kind of the layer that's like on top of the muscle that's like holding it in. And that's the part that can be really tight and intense. And that's often the part that massage therapists work on. And it's, on top of the muscle. And so when that gets tight around it, then the muscle loses range of motion. That's whenever you get like whenever it balls up, you have like less circulation to that area and then all the areas around it. So when we get to hold these poses, what happens is we get to let that go a little bit. The fascia layer starts to let go, then the muscle gets to release a little bit. Um, Expect no miracles, but that's the goal, is to really get to this like luscious, luxurious, scrumptious, as Paul said, delicious place that you get to just relax and release. Um, so yeah, so that's a little bit about that. And again, we're going to be holding poses for a while. So you get to this place maybe of being like, oh, if you're really comfortable, and then you start to feel areas and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm comfortable in this. Feel free to shift, feel free to get out of it, but always, using your breath to get out of it and come to a more comfortable place. So there's that. All right. So any other motions that you need to do, shifting or twisting or, moving the head side to side or whatever, go for that. And then we're going to actually, yeah, we're going to start right into Shavasana. So Shavasana is laying flat on your back. The other option is laying flat on your back with a pillow under your knees, a pillow, a blanket, something like that. And again, this is different than my other classes. Usually my classes are, we go in this flow and it's all about like this one and how do we transition to this next one. But this one's kind of like getting into poses and just being there. I saw Paul, it looked like maybe he shifted the light a little bit. So if you want to do that, you can kind of turn the lights down a little bit. I know some people have eye pillows, so feel free to use an eye pillow if you want to. Um, I am checking you guys out over there. Okay, cool. So yeah, so coming to this place. So here you are in your beginning pose, Shavasana, laying flat on your back. Again, another option is putting a pillow under your knees. If you need to, you could put a pillow, like a really slight pillow or like a kind of small blanket under your neck, under your head. But here you are coming into Shavasana. And again, listen more to my words than what I'm going to be doing, because I'm just going to kind of be telling you guys what to do and where you are. So here you are in the beginning of this class. And again, typically you just kind of come to center. So as you allow yourself to feel heavy here, allow yourself to feel the ground is just supporting you. I heard someone say recently that um, when they finally learned how to relax through restorative yoga, they finally gave their full weight to their bed at night. And so kind of go with that thought here in this shavasana, trying to give your full weight to the ground, to your mat, to the ground underneath you, the blankets or pillows or whatever you're feeling, comfortable that's like underneath you, giving your full weight and letting it just go. Taking this moment to scan your body, scan from the top of your head and moving down through around your eyes. And as you're scanning, just letting all the tension go away around your ears. We are, for those of you just getting on, we are in full shavasana. So we are starting this sequence, this session in full shavasana. So Jennifer laying flat on your back. You're going to be following more my words than what my actions are doing. So either flat on your back or again, maybe a pillow or something under your knees. Why the pillow under your knees? That just brings your back. Sometimes for people that have some like back or hip stuff going on, it just kind of grounds the lower back a little bit more. So if you have some stuff going on there, then that can just feel a little bit more comfortable since we'll be here for a handful more minutes. Once again, you're scanning the body. As you're scanning the body too, think about it as your breath is moving down while you're scanning. And allow your breath to unravel any knots that you find, any tension, any tightness without judgment. That's another place we try to get to with yoga is just letting it go. There's no judgment if you're like, whoa, look at that. I've been grinding my teeth all day and my jaw is so tight. Just notice there it is. And now allow your breath to unravel it. Moving that scanning process, that breath around the shoulders and the front of the chest. Because we tend to hold a lot of tension in the neck and shoulders, kind of right in front of the shoulders, imagine that there's a gentle weight on your shoulders. You could even take a blanket or a pillow and put that like on your chest, because it's not a lot of pressure, but just enough that kind of tells your body, whew, I'm letting go. My shoulders are relaxed and released. You're still moving the breath down through the lungs, down to the belly. Each breath unraveling any knots, any tension that you're finding. Moving down through the belly. Really allowing the breath to come into the belly. Imagine that your breath is just kind of waiting for you to fill it up. Your breath is like in your belly, just kind of waiting there. And it's like, all right, I got this whole huge balloon. Just come on in and fill it up with breath. And scanning down through your hips, your knees, your legs, your feet. Once again, your breath unraveling any knots, any tension with no judgment, and giving your full weight to the earth. Check in with that monkey mind of yours and see if it's floated away from where it should be, which is just here in the moment. I was thinking the other day about how when we let our minds go to other places besides the moment, which often we have to, and that's life, and that's fine. But when we really get kind of wrapped up in thinking about things that just aren't present in the moment, that's when this unrest can boil up in us a little bit. So when we get to just be present in the moment, then this is just where we are. There's no judgment. It's just where we are. All the sights and the sounds and the smells and the feels. We just get to be right in it right now. So taking this moment to kind of, train your body, train your mind, what it's like to just be right here in this moment. We're going to start shifting a little bit here. So, again, we've been like really allowing ourselves to just dig in, right? And just be right here. So, when we move, we're going to move with lots of intention and lots of thought. So, if you have like a blanket on you or a pillow or something on top of you, you'll want to gently move that to the side. And then we're going to bring one knee and then the other to our chest and gently, slowly wrap your arms around your knees and super slowly. With compassion for our backs, we're going to just rock a little bit side to side, keeping that weight down into the earth, the relaxation in our jaw, the relaxation in our shoulders. Awesome. And then we're going to move, and I'll tell you how we'll get into it, into Supta Baddha Konasana, which is like cobbler pose, but laying down. Supta is like supine on your back. So, what that's going to look like is you're going to have the bottoms of your feet together and your knees out to the side. And you're still laying down flat on your back, right? So this is where these pillows, blankets, I have my yoga blocks, those work too. Those are going to come in handy where you're going to put those underneath your knees. So I will show you that if you feel like you need to kind of see what that looks like once I get my phone set up. Okay. So again, bottoms of the feet together and the knees are out to the side. I'm laying on my back. But I'm going to take, where are my yoga blocks? Here we go. I'm going to take my yoga blocks and put those kind of close to my thighs. They can go wherever is comfortable. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to hold any tension in my groin, in my inner thighs, right? I want to be really relaxed in this pose again. So, with these restorative poses, yeah, you need to get up and move around. You can do that, but we're still on our back. So this is supine, so supta. So once again, the knees are out to the side, the bottoms of the feet together. Various options with your arms. Your arms can be up if that feels comfortable in your shoulders, or you can bring your hands onto your belly. Another option is one hand on the heart, the other one on the belly. And when I do that, again, this is really like, what do you need today? But if you're doing hand on the heart, hand on the belly, just feel like I'm really giving myself love. This one's about giving to yourself. So you're giving yourself love with a hand on the heart. Again, feeling that weight of your hand on your heart, breathing into you, giving to you. And the hand on the belly is just centering you. in who you are, in all that you are, in your uniqueness, in your centeredness. And when you're not centered and feeling, ungrounded, this is just grounding you into just who you are. You are right there in the center. And your hand is always, the hand on the heart is just giving you compassion for all that you are, all that you've been through today, that you'll go through tomorrow, giving yourself some love. All the while, everything else should be relaxed and released. Feel free to move the feet, away from the body or closer into the body. However that looks, shift and adjust with the pillows or the blocks or whatever is going on underneath your legs to be more comfortable. But again, just being in this pose. There's this openness that's happening in this one, right? The hips are opening up. And with that openness, feel that spaciousness of all that you can be, all that you can embrace in your life, in who you are, and what you're going to be doing. But then with the hand on the heart, the hand on the belly is just once again coming right back to center, giving love to yourself. And resting here. Any thoughts are the buzzing bees that you thank and send them out the door. Sometimes this could be, restorative poses can be really hard because you're like, all right, I just want to move, maybe, right? So if you're feeling that, then just start to feel your body, you know, feel your back touching the ground, feel the curve of your back that's not touching the ground, feel the back of your head and your upper back, but not the part of your neck, right? Or feeling the part of your neck that's not touching the ground. Another couple breaths here. So really luxuriate in that inhale, 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 opening, expanding, and exhale, 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 fully letting go. Inhale, 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 open and expand and letting it go. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Giving yourself some deep love, deep compassion. On inhale, just being at peace in your exhale. And we're going to get ready to slowly move again. And hopefully you don't have to look at me to know what's going on. I kind of want you to be really in this zone. So eyes can be closed this whole time, whatever. So the next pose will be bridge pose. So what that one looks like is staying where you are, laying on your back. Your knees are going to go up to the sky with your legs bent and your feet stay on the ground. So just staying there, the knees should be about hip width apart. The feet should be about hip width apart as well. Arms are at your sides. If they've gone up or down, they should be at your sides. And bridge pose, so just hear it first and then you can like move into it, is basically picking the hips up, kind of lifting the hips up to the sky. So there's so many different ways. You could just stay here, and this is a good restorative pose. You can have the arms up by your ears and along the ground. You can stay there. But if you want to move into a little bit, just a little kind of hip shift before we do some more restorative, the hips are going to go up to the sky. That's our inhale. And when you're doing that, you're on your shoulders, you're on your neck or on your head, sorry, and just kind of resting there. Another option is if you have like some yoga blocks or some, really thick blankets or something, you can put them under your hips so that there's a little tiny bit of an inversion here. So that's kind of what we're going for. So again, the hips are up, the head is a little bit lower than the heart. So options would be whether you want to like hold your hips up with your hands or just pick your hips up, hang out a couple breaths, and you'll lower them back down. Again, the hips would go up on an inhale, holding it there a couple breaths, lower back down. So really you would just do this like 2 or 3 times. This is just kind of the transition. But again, for some of you, if you have some yoga blocks or something, you can lift the hips up and hold the hips up there. And then we'll meet just back in this where your knees are up, your feet are on the ground, just a couple breaths here. All right, so we're going to gently meet with our knees back onto our belly, wrapping your arms around your knees, and just allowing yourself once again to rock gently side to side. If you have blankets or something on either side of you that was helping you with the cobbler pose, the setu bandha, then you will want to move those away because we're going to roll onto one side. We're going to start with the right side. So really gently, you're going to roll over and let your, this is Jatara Parivartanasana, love that one. All right, so your knees are stacked on top of each other, rolling over onto your right side. And so this is a little twist. Your arms are going to be at your sides and making sure that your arms are lower than your shoulders. So for restorative, you really want those arms lower as opposed to across when the shoulders are up higher. They're up higher, there's going to be a lot of tension in the neck. And the goal is to do this full twist here. So with that, here again, we're going to be in here for multiple minutes. So get comfy. Okay, so it might be putting a blanket underneath your feet. It might be putting a blanket in between your knees. And you can look over your left shoulder. That's a full twist with the whole spine, going up through the cervical spine, the neck spine. But if, since again, this is really about resting and relaxing, if that feels a little bit like there's too much tension pulling there, then look wherever is comfortable to you. And this is really good for circulation. And again, if you take my classes, I love my twist because it's all about squeezing out toxins, squeezing out tension and stress. And that's the other beautiful thing about doing, this restorative yoga, is it really gives you that deep release, not just of like the fascia layer, right? Like around the muscles, but it gives you that deep release in your nerves. So it's like a nerve tonic, just being able to really rest into each pose. And once again, like we started, just kind of scan the body, check in. Are you holding some tension here in the jaw or the hips, or does the lower back feel weird? Sometimes you can kind of take a blanket or a pillow and stuff it behind the lower back too. So it's kind of propping you up a little bit. Just kind of giving you different options so that, my goal too is that you guys practice um, like outside of class, right? So that you have these moments that if you're, playing on the ground with your kids or I don't know, watching TV or something, and you're like, oh, I just kind of feel like, just get down on the ground and do one of these twists. You've got blankets and pillows all around you. So maybe a blanket can go under your arm or again between the knees, under the feet. But again, just kind of feeling this out, feeling that extra circulation happening just by resting. When you give yourself this time too to rest, then the fascia layer is letting go. I think, is it the sarcomeres? Anyway, like little parts, those are the muscle connectors, and those start to kind of like release a little bit too. So there's just more space happening. There's more spaciousness happening just by allowing yourself to rest and hold this twist. um, the energy gets to move better in your body. More balance happens again in your nerves, in your mood. And you get to, again, like we were saying earlier, kind of come to this more meditative state and just training yourself how lovely it is to just be in the moment. There's no worries or less worries. If you're just right here, like this is just where you are, there's nothing else happening. And especially in this moment where you're being forced to relax. And, holding these poses allows you to be better at the more active poses because your muscles are more released and relaxed. And there's just more, like blood going to them. There's that opening that's happening. Your choice to stay here exactly as you are or straighten your top leg, straightening it out, kind of pressing through the heel. Just changes where you're feeling this. You're still in the twist. Your neck, shoulders, hips, all that should still be comfortable. But just kind of opens up the hip a little bit, especially if you're pressing through the heel. That allows that to open up. You can just figure out where it feels comfortable to have that leg straight, or just stay with both legs bent and just hanging out, resting. Again, checking in if the arms are lower than the shoulders. So they're resting. If you want a little bit more like a deeper stretch, you're like, okay, I'm feeling this. I feel good. Let me go like a little bit deeper. You can press that left arm into the ground a little bit and extend the left arm a little bit. And that just opens up a little bit more around the arm, the neck, the shoulder. Or again, stay as you were and just keep on breathing. we're going to get ready to shift to the other side, but we're going to do it with presence and intention. So if your one leg is straight, bend both knees again, and we're going to slowly press the lower back into the ground, and the knees will follow, and they'll come back onto the chest, onto the belly, and hang out there. So you're going to stay there in this in between for 5 breaths. Just kind of let your body that was resting on that one side, that whole side stretched out, just coming back to center. Just resting here. If you want to hold on to the knees and, rock, you can, or you can just stay holding on to your knees. You're counting your own 5 breaths. I hope they're nice and long and deep, but if they're not, that's okay. No judgment. Just trying to work on that, filling the whole body with that space of breath. That new prana, that new energy, the new chi just moving through the body. That's what the inhale is, right? It's this newness. And then the exhale is, letting go, holding on to all the things that it is gathering. And then the exhale just lets it go. Think of that exhale as just flowers, just poof, moving out of you like it was in you. It didn't need to be there. And then you let it go and it turns into something glorious and lovely for something else. And maybe you're at 5 breaths now. If you are, excuse me, then you're going to slowly, gently, gracefully bring your legs over to your left side. And now what's lovely about taking your time with this one too is that you can check in and see if you need different supports on this side. So maybe this side is a little tighter because you've got something going on in a hip or a shoulder or whatever. So again, pillow can be under the knees, under the feet, in between the knees. Shoulders, arms are lower than the shoulders. The right hand should just kind of be resting. You can bring the right hand on the belly. I didn't say that last time, but you can go wherever it's comfortable. And then see what's comfortable with your neck too. If you want to look over to the right, that's a full twist in the upper spine. You can hold that for a couple breaths and, move out of it, whatever's comfortable, and just being in this place. Once again, just knowing that you're taking care of yourself. If you came here being like, oh, I'm going to get this really good workout, I hope you recognize that you are. There's a lot of like toning that's happening now, even though you're just kind of hanging out. Again, there's that release that's happening that's going to make other workouts, other strengthening poses a lot more fluid. You'll have more grace in those. And just in itself, this twist is improving circulation. It's good for backaches. It's good for menstrual discomfort. Can be good for sciatica. If it's done the right way, not too much stretch of that top leg. If you need a little mantra, you could just think, I am worth this resting. It's going to make me, powerful badass tomorrow. But with this deep restoration, can come out of it, even greater than if we just keep on running and running. I feel like so many people that I've been chatting with lately just feel like I've just been running and running and running, and I know it's good, and I just go, but like kind of keep forgetting to rest. So I am making you rest. If you want, you can straighten that top leg if that feels comfortable or exciting or good to you or necessary. You could stretch the right arm back, press it into the ground, or not. You can just keep both knees stacked on top of each other. And just continuing to find your breath Scan the body, give your weight to the earth. And one more breath or two here. All right. And once again, finding a slow transition. So the lower back will press down into the ground. The knees will follow, holding on to the knees and just resting here with your knees on your belly, or if you want that gentle rocking side to side for those of you that need a little bit of rocking or movement. I know I have one friend on here that loves her rocking chairs, and it's just such a comforting thing for her to just, rock. It's like what helps her focus is that little bit of movement. So, if you feel like you need to be on a little rocking chair right now, go ahead, a little bit of rocking. Awesome. And then we'll bring our feet back down to the ground and the knees up to the sky. That makes sense. So your legs are bent, your feet are on the ground. And this time, let's bring the feet out a little bit. So kind of on the closer to the outside of your mat, and your knees just kind of falling in together. So the knees should be touching, the feet out a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So just taking a moment to rest here, kind of a transition moment here. Awesome. Okay, now let's bring both legs in once again, both knees into the chest. And this is Supta Padangustasana. Okay, so we're going to hold the left knee in to the belly and send the right leg up to the sky. Cool. So various ways with this one. So you can just kind of hang out here, slowly, just like let it be up in the sky. Yep. So you're still holding, yeah, that left leg and the right leg is up. Right now, you can do some ankle circles if you feel like you need a little bit of love to the ankles. I always say, like, as if you're writing the ABCs and some lovely, smooth cursive font so that there's, like, this lovely motion happening in the ankles. Awesome. So exactly, yeah, I see Paul's in where we're going. So what we're going to be doing, but not just yet, unless you want to, is putting your ankle, what is it, whatever leg is up, your left ankle, I guess, onto your right knee. So that's where we're going. But another option is if it feels comfortable for your leg up in the sky, you can just kind of move it side to side. So opening it up out to the right, or crossing it over the body. And when you cross it over the body, I want you to keep your hips grounded. So you're like, your sit bones on the ground. So when you cross it over, it might literally be like 1 or 2 inches across. I see you looking. So if your left knee is pulled in and your right leg is up to the sky, so I'm just kind of opening it up out to the side, bringing it back up, or crossing it over, and it literally just goes like a couple inches over the body, but you're keeping your hips on the ground. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. I saw some of you guys being like, what is going on here? So that's just opening it up here. And again, it's just, having that leg pressing up to the sky. And we're just hanging out here for a moment. And for me, it's about finding a place that feels really yummy that I want to hang out and let my leg be there. So, you can work it and press the heel up away, or you can just kind of let it hang out. For me, it's also about pulling it a little bit closer into my belly. That's just what feels good to me. We're just going to hang out here. This is kind of a transition pose. So this is a breath or two here. And then the leg that was on your belly, I don't remember which one, I think it's your left. So that foot is going to go back down to the ground, the knee up to the sky, and then your right ankle onto the left knee. Does that make sense? Anybody looking at me like they don't know what they're doing? Okay. So yeah, left foot on the ground. I think that's what it was. Left knee is up to the sky. The right ankle is on the left knee, and just hanging out here is another pose. You can hold on, like kind of press that right hip away so you're opening up the hip. That's an option. Just staying here is an option. Or pulling the left knee or the left thigh into the belly is another option. And you can even play in between those. But again, with restorative, it's about kind of finding one pose, one part of the pose that feels really good and hanging out there. All right. For those of you that I can see, it's looking good. So again, yep, it's the ankle to the knee pose. And if you want to keep your foot on the ground, I see some of you keeping like the left foot onto the ground, you can do that. Or if you want to pull the thigh in towards you, wherever you're at, this is just a good, ankle, hip opener. Working that knee a little bit. So check in that the knee feels comfortable. And shoulders relaxed. Head on the ground. I've been dreaming of getting some sandbags and putting them on my chest, like upper chest, around like the arms, the shoulders. I forget what those aren't my traps. What is this called? Anyway, like right there, and just kind of like giving me that really intense, like letting go of the shoulders, like the heart opener without doing any work. So if nothing else, at least feel like that is just totally letting go. Front of your chest is opening up, your head is relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed, your belly is soft. Lovely. Just another breath or two here. And the transition will be once again bringing both feet to the ground. The knees are up to the sky, hanging out there for a moment. You can bring the feet wide again and the knees, coming in towards each other, taking a moment there. Scanning the body, finding your breath, allowing the breath to undo knots, tension, even though it's all going away right now. Like I don't have anything to undo. And then we'll do the other side. So in just a moment here, sorry if I switched it on you, but I think this time the right knee comes into the chest and hold the right leg, and then the left leg gets sent up to the sky. You know your body better than I. I'm sorry I didn't pay enough attention to what I said the first time, but if that's how it is, then the right knee comes in and the left leg goes up to the sky. Um, the again, this is just kind of like that transition, moving the hips a little bit, stretching open the leg a little bit before we get the deep knee and hip opening. So yep, I see you guys like moving that leg. It also just kind of tells you where you need to focus on that leg. Again, you can cross the body. My suggestion is to keep the hips grounded as the leg crosses the body, bringing it closer to the chest. Just kind of, a little bit of abs working out there too. And I actually feel like incredibly comfortable with my leg up in the sky. And we're going to do a pose in just a moment that with our legs up, but they're going to be supported in a way. But, sometimes we do poses like this with sandbags on our feet or on our foot so that it's kind of like pressing the leg down into the ground and you're not having to like hold it up. So there's this feeling of the leg coming down into the hip. So if you can kind of feel that for a moment and you find that place that your leg feels comfortable just kind of hanging up in the sky, which seems kind of weird, but all right. If you want to stay there, you may stay there, or if you want to go into the other pose that we did on the other side. So this time, what is it? The left leg comes to the ground. Did I just switch it again? I don't know. Whatever it was. I think the right leg was up to the sky, and the other one, right? The left ankle to the right knee. Whatever it is. So one ankle is going to go to the other knee that wasn't there before. And that foot is to the ground. Or if you want to pull the thigh in towards you, you may. And so find a place that's comfortable, right? Because that's the goal of this, is that deep relaxation. So the shoulders are released, the head is still on the ground. Yeah, and if you're, pulling the leg in towards you and you're like, I'm finding some tension in the shoulders, then you can release the leg and put that foot back down to the ground. And just a couple breaths here. More than a couple breaths here. Oh, okay. I just muted myself and I was telling you guys about this next pose. I'm like, how funny, nobody's getting into it. I guess everybody is luxuriating in this pose. Okay, so we are moving into one of our I'm like, it's cool, you guys can all stay there, but here's the suggested next pose. Okay, so we're moving into happy baby pose. So you're staying on your back. I was saying I was thinking about, cat and cow are getting you standing, but I'm keeping you on your back this whole time. So yeah, happy baby is Alexis is doing it right now. So you're on your back, your knees are bent and they're up towards your chest and you're holding onto your feet. And you're basically, it's like an open, like kind of like we were doing with the knees together and rocking side to side. But there's all different ways that if you can reach your feet, awesome. If there's some other body part that's easier to reach, you can reach the outside of your feet. You can bring your hands on the inside of your feet. You can rock, you can not rock, whatever. But just think about a baby that's like, "Ooh, I can't wait to grab my feet," and they're like, "Whoa, I have feet. Look at these things. They're toes." And then they just rock side to side. So, or, rocking, or you can hold it steady, whatever works for you. And I actually see people moving. So now I know that I'm not muted anymore. That was really funny. And just play with this one. So again, you can stay in one place. You can really rock side to side. If there's like one side that feels good, you can kind of roll around on that hip a little bit. Um, if you just want to go back into feet on the ground and knees up to the sky, staying stable and steady, you can do that. But happy baby is just another, way to open up the lower back, the hips, even like little circles you could even do because you're holding on to your feet there. Awesome. Getting close to 9. Isn't that crazy? This has been almost an hour of you guys just like diving into loving yourself. I love it. Okay. The next pose, which is kind of like the second to last pose, because then you can stay in this whole next 5 minutes, or you can move into shavasana in a couple minutes. But I'm going to suggest that you try either legs up the wall or legs on a chair. Okay. So I didn't tell you to bring a chair or a little ottoman or even a wall. So whatever that looks like to you. But I'm going to explain what this looks like, and you can look at other people if you haven't done this before, what this looks like. But the main thing is that you want to be comfortable. When you do legs up a wall, your legs are just straight up a wall. Okay. And the goal is that you kind of like are on your side, scooch up to the wall, and then like rock onto your back with one leg and then the other going up. If I were with you, I would probably be setting you up on a lot of different blankets and stuff to be comfortable, because sometimes it's more comfortable to have your hips a little bit elevated when you have your legs straight up a wall, or even if your legs are on a chair. So it would be your calves are the things on a chair. I don't know. The reason I muted myself is because I was trying to find a position that you could see what I'm doing. But it's really pretty simple. So it's my calves are here, and then I like kind of scooch my hips up as close to the back of the chair as I can, and then I'm just lying flat back. I mean, that's like the simplest way to do that one. I love that one. I can even bring my leg straight up, depending on the kind of chair, or like, kind of more straight, depending on the chair that I'm on. But if I'm doing it up a wall, then again, I like to have my hips a little bit elevated on like a pillow or something, and then my legs are going straight up the wall here. And just little by little, I find a way that feels really comfortable for me. Hands maybe on the belly, one hand on the heart, one hand on the chest. I mean, one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. Maybe the arms are up at your sides, like whatever that looks like to you. But it's a little bit of an inversion. So kind of taking your time to get into it, but it looks like I think most people are in it already. Awesome. And so we're gonna, spend the next, 3-5 minutes here. But if you choose to move out of it into Shavasana, 100% totally cool, 1000% totally cool. But I just want you to pay attention to how you move, right? So it might be like bringing the knees back onto the chest, rolling onto one side, kind of scooting away, laying back flat. I will bring us all up into a final seated pose, like at the very end. So you can use that, I'll bring you into that place. But for now, just resting in this place. And this is really 1000% awesome thing to do before you go to bed at night. I try to remember to do this. Sometimes I'm in bed and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. And I just bring my legs straight up to the sky. But having them resting on something makes it a little bit more restful. Awesome. So just this little inversion, it's really relaxing for the hips. It's a super central nervous system relaxer. If by chance you have high blood pressure, you might want to stay in it just another minute, maybe two. Kind of just check in with how you feel. But here you are, just in this place, giving yourself this gift of restoration, of relaxation, of just being able to be present in this moment. If any thoughts come in besides being right here and now, just move into the breath, allowing your breath to unravel any tension, any knots, and just slowly, with finesse, gently unraveling a knot and just letting it open and float away. Take this moment wherever you are to think about one or two or three things that you're really grateful for. When my legs were on my chair, I was just thinking about how grateful I am to have space to do yoga. And for you, that you have carved out some space in your house, in your life to do yoga, that it is this continuous practice. Everything's a practice. Even every day of our life is just a simple little practice. It's a practice in being present. It's a practice of awareness, of mindfulness. It's a practice of just being ourselves, maybe our best selves. Maybe some days we just are practicing our worst selves. And that's okay, because that's where we are sometimes. I was thinking that I just feel grateful that I get to come together with all of you. And it feels like we're all in the same room to me sometimes. Just feel like I get to be here with you all. And thank you for that. And thanks for letting me change my mind. I'm not going to bring us all up to a final seated position. I'm going to let you stay where you are. I will end the practice in a minute or two. And I'm going to end the Zoom and log you all off. And you can move into whatever you want to from here. You can fall asleep on the ground where you are. You can move into Shavasana. You can go into your favorite meditation, whatever that's going to look like to you. But I do want to kind of end this session so it doesn't feel like, all right, and I just log off and you're hanging. So wherever you are, be there, be present, bring awareness to your breath. But once again, bring one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly, to your center of yourself. Just take this moment to feel, that center of yourself, and all that you are, all that makes you you, No judgment about any of it. Not your like, your greatness and your flaws or any of that. Just all of you. Just that fullness that you get to be you, and connect that into your heart, sending love and compassion to yourself. And those times that you feel great, and then those times that you feel like total crap, it's all a part of it. And it's good to be aware of all of that and float through all of that, and coming back to your center, to yourself, and back to that compassion to yourself. And thank you all for allowing me to guide you through this restorative session today. I hope that it felt really good and luxurious to you. And may you sleep better than you have in months. Namaste. And I'm going to end this session. I'm going to log off, and you do you, whatever works for you. Okay. Love you all. See you later.